And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
Because all the blessings that we're going to get, which is entailing the kingdom of heaven. Isaiah the 60th chapter, I'm going to start at the 10th verse and read on down. It says, and the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their king shall minister unto thee. In my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. So the sons of strangers, that's talking about the actual strangers, the other nations, shall build up thy walls. We're going to have them in slavery. So they're going to be building the kingdom of heaven, because we're not building nothing. We're not lifting a hand to move nothing. It says, for in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles. That's about the actual Gentiles. We're going to take all of their substance, and that their kings may be brought.
And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish, yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Verse 13. And the glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, the box together to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. So the land of Israel, the land of Jerusalem, is going to be made glorious. It's going to be made glorious once again. The kingdom is going to be built up. We had a taste of that during the time of Solomon's reign, which was for about 40 years. Verse 14, the sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet. And they shall call thee the city of the Lord. The word Zion means monument, the monument of the Holy One of Israel. Whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shall suck the breasts of kings, meaning we're going to take all their substance. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord thy power, the Lord and thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. For brass I will bring thee gold, and for iron I will bring thee silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. And I will make thy officers peace, and thine exactors righteousness. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, waste nor destruction within thy borders, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise. The sun shall no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee, but the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and the power thy glory. The sun shall no more go down, meaning our kingdom is not going to go down. In other words, once we get back in power, we're going to be power forever. The sun is never going to go down on our kingdom again. The sun is never going to set on our kingdom. We're going to always shine, and we're going to always be in that glory as we get into the kingdom of heaven. There's no more going back into slavery under the other nations. Esau's not going to rise back up. Ham, Japheth, each of the other nations are going to rise up and take us down ever again. When we get on top this time, we're going to remain on top. Neither shall thy moon withdraw itself, for the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. So no more mourning, no more crying, no more vexation of spirit, no more weeping, no more hopelessness because of the condition that we're in as Israelites right now. Verse 21, thy people also shall be all righteous, they shall inherit the land forever. The branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. Verse 22, a little one shall become 1,000. This is in the kingdom. So what is this talking about? We're going to have sex. Again, like I said, The 2/3 that are going to pass in this destruction, the 2/3 are going to come back through the 1/3 that make it. The Lord said, 2/3 shall be cut off and die, and the third will I bring through the fire. It says, a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time.
All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Mekakodash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. All right, and what I want to get into this morning, dealing with this morning news and prophecy, and going into these data center nightmares, all right, and what people are seeing, what people are having to deal with. I got a few articles, a couple videos, all right, and what people are having to deal with as the devil, is throwing up his DPI, his digital public infrastructure, is they're having to deal with the pollution from these data centers, all right, and they're having to deal with the financial burden of these data centers, which they're forwarding, okay, the cost of electricity to the locals, okay, which is completely wicked, man. All right, they're having to deal with the noise, of these data centers, so this is a nightmare. These data centers, if everyone that's having to deal with the reality and being in close vicinity of these data centers, they're all having the same complaint. And this devil don't give a damn, okay? Because your government is not a democracy, all right, in which the the power is in the hand of the many, all right, to make the decisions, okay? But we have to understand that this is an oligarchy, okay? And these wealthy families, all right, the oligarchs, okay, because the oligarchy is the rule of wicked, wealthy families, man. Oligarchy is what you would say a wicked aristocracy, because the aristocracy will be, the rule of righteous families. Lord, I could do a video going into that, all right. But the oligarchy is the exact opposite. It's the rule of wicked families. And right now, the earth is under the rule, all right, of wicked Edomite families, man. Okay. And they don't give a damn about life. They don't care about people. They don't care about the earth. Okay. They don't care about them damn selves, man. Okay. And they have all this power and wealth. Okay. And the only thing they do is destroy. Okay. So let's get a few precepts, and I got a few articles and a couple of videos I want to get into. Brothers, brother Anas sent me a few articles I want to tap into. So when you go into let's get this real quick, the book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 6. Okay. It says, you struck the people. This is the NLT. It says, you struck the people with endless blows of rage and held the nations in your angry grip with unrelenting tyranny, man. Okay. So this devil, he's not going to chill. Okay, this nigga has no breaks. He has no pause on his wickedness, man. Okay, that's why I say it's an unrelenting tyranny, man. It say he struck the people with endless blows of rage, man. Okay, it's always something with this devil. You always finding out some new wickedness with this nigga, man. We're still finding out this nigga old wickedness, and he's doing new shit. So it's just a continuation of wickedness and destruction and, robbing and taking and oppressing, all right, suppressing, psyops and physical, destruction like this. That goddamn financial destruction, environmental destruction. It's like goddamn, with Esau, okay, and this nigga won't stop, and then he'll jump on stage and act like you the problem. You see, he'll get on stage and act like you the problem, man. Okay, so let's go from there because this is a very predatory system that the devil, has set up, and he's able to do this, all right, because he has created a society where he has all the wealth, power, and influence, okay, and he has created all this poverty in the earth, all right, and when you are poor, you have no power. Okay, so he's able to do these things because people are in poverty, people are poor. Okay, people are dependent, and that's one thing too. This man has created a society where, is heavily dependent on him. He creates a society where it's extremely, all right, dependent on him. See, this was a trade-off with the convenience that this devil offered, was that it made you dependent on this devil. So now he can just have his way because you depend on this nigga for so much. Okay, to where people are helpless because all they can do is complain, make documentaries, and that's about it. And we go into these things, but see, we know we're complaining to a higher power that's getting ready to do something, man. Okay, those of the elect, man, of the hopeful elect. Okay, let's go here to Proverbs, get a few more precepts, and we'll segue into some articles. All right, this Proverbs 28 and 15. It says a wicked ruler is as dangerous to the poor as a roaring lion or an attacking bear. Okay, so this man, which the scriptures liken these, these nations unto beasts, but there's no one that's more beastly than Esau. Okay, and he's created this system to where people are a prey to rulership, man. Okay, rulers are supposed to serve the people that they're ruling. Their rulership, their decision making, okay, their integrity, their honor, their reliability is supposed to serve, all right, the people that they're ruling. Okay, but this devil has it to where the masses serve his agenda, man. Okay, well you have the masses benefiting the few. Okay, and that's the construct of an oligarch is to set systems up to where the masses serve the benefits of the few. Okay, so when you go here, and you can really see that when you watch the Men Who Built America, it's this series on Amazon, and then they try to paint, Esau, especially Rockefeller. They try to paint that devil, as if he was just this God fearing, Christian man that worked his way up to the top of the oil company, man. But it just show you how cutthroat and conniving, all right, these Edomites are, man, that run the earth, man. These certain families, it goes into the Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers, the Carnegie, Ford, okay, and I think it was one more I can't forget, but it's a pretty good watch. You gotta extrapolate the BS. Esau try to romanticize them niggas like they was just, these people loving entrepreneurs. Okay, but you can't get away from, all right, the cutthroat mentality, all right, of these Edomites, man. Okay, and the earth is in the hand of these few families, man. Okay, and they're like a raging lion or a roaring bear, okay, amongst the poor, which they've created permanent. And see, the New World Order is this devil doubling down and creating, all right, permanent poverty, man. Okay, he wants to create permanent wealth amongst the oligarchs, these few families, and permanent poverty amongst everyone else, man. Okay, this is the system this devil is trying to set up. So this is why nothing is working in your interest. Okay, now you people celebrate, all right, Donald Trump kidnapping, Maduro. Okay, the Venezuela president. Well, wait, what is he going to do about these data centers that's being set up? Because kidnapping Maduro, that changed nothing in your life. Okay, that changed nothing in your situation. All right, the Maduro being kidnapped. But these data centers are going up right beside you, man, and having a major impact. Okay, so let's get into some articles real quick. All right, now this one here is local down here in Mississippi. It's about 25, 30 minutes from where brothers have camping in Jackson. All right, down here in Canton, you know. So you go to let me see. So let's get this article here. So this down here in Mississippi, and it says Amazon's Canton data center promises prosperity. These niggas always promise prosperity and peace, man. Right before they do wickedness, man. When the devil, all right, when the devil says peace and prosperity, okay, prepare for wickedness to follow right after, man. It says for neighbors, it's bringing dust, noise, and pollution fears. Okay, pollution fears, man. Okay, all right, ain't he mad as hell, man? You see, now when you go into it, it says Canton, Mississippi. It said Johnny Sims has spent the past 2 years living next to a neighbor, unlike any other. Okay, it says less than 200 yards from his home on the outskirts of Canton, Mississippi. It is a sprawling industrial park with partially completed data centers. And the brother can if a brother can put that St. John chapter 10 verse 10 Bible shot as well. St. John 10 and 10. And it said is a sprawling industrial park with a partially completed data center campus, one of two Madison County locations selected by Amazon to store, process, and distribute massive amounts of digital data. And this is all going to the digital public infrastructure. All right, it's all going into a digital prison. So they're building a digital prison. Okay, while they have everyone caught up with the Epstein and this and that, they're building a digital prison. These data centers are nothing but the data hubs for a digital prison. Okay, this is what the search party, with the Ring cameras. Okay, well, what data is they going to tie into? They're going to tie into these data centers. All these surveillance cameras tied into the data centers. The microchip is going to tie into these data centers. All right, with your ID, your digital footprint, all these different things. They need these data centers, man. All right, to compute. You see all this data, man. Okay, it said the arrival of the data center and adjacent development has transformed conditions in Aldebriar, the serene tree field subdivision that Sims and his wife settled in 3 decades ago, 30 years ago, you know. And then this nigga show up, Amazon, big ass. Okay, and then what they do too, because trees are a natural sound barrier. This devil is so anti-life, man. He goes against the earth, man. The earth was created with so much wisdom, and it was created, okay, to be a paradise, man. Okay, but this nigga and his wicked intentions to try to set up a digital infrastructure, okay, to try to replace the Most High, a new world order, a technocracy, man. It works against the earth. Okay, but trees in themselves are a natural sound barrier, man. So this man is just cutting down all these trees, man. And now these people are hearing noises like they never heard before. Okay, and it says an influx on traffic around the site has created bottlenecks in the neighborhood and lengthened residents' commute times. And the sounds of vehicles and heavy machinery have kept Sims' family up all night. Okay. And that's just Esau building his wickedness, man. You see? So now you have to deal with the traffic because of, all this construction going in and out, all these resources coming in for these data centers. Okay, these niggas working overnight. These niggas don't even have the decency to work, regular hours. Your 9 to 5, your morning to evening. These niggas working overnight. The lights on all goddamn night. Okay, because they don't care. All right. It says ongoing construction has also caused dust to accumulate in the subdivision, covering houses, cars, and vegetation, and raising alarm bells about degraded air quality. All right. The dust has proven especially damaging for Sims' teenage daughter, who suffers from asthma and has to wear a face covering outdoors to keep her symptoms from worsening, man. So people are having to wear masks around the construction of these data centers, man. Okay, this is crazy, man. You see, it says she still wound up in the emergency room multiple times last year due to severe asthma flare-ups. Her father told Mississippi Free Press. You see, so here it is. People are ending up in hospitals just at the construction of these data centers, man. Okay, so let's go here. I got another article, man. And this the only thing Esau brings to the game, man, is the death, destruction, man. This is the only thing this nigga bring to the game. All right, yeah, the brother got it. Let's go here to this other article, segue. So here it is in your own neighborhood, okay, because of data centers, man. You getting choked out. Niggas working around the clock. Okay, then them bright lights, and then when they get it up and running, man, they loud as hell. Then they done cut the trees, so the sound barrier is gone. So you hearing stuff from, things that you never heard, man. Okay, the Esau just turned the earth to a nightmare, man. Okay, brother can get that Revelation 6 and 4. Okay, and that's why we can't wait till the Prince of Peace, all right, come and put this man down. Okay, Esau is the prince of chaos and destruction and death, man. Okay, so let's get this one. Let's see, I got a few. I think they said here. Yeah. So we'll get this one. So this is brother Mark Ball. It's St. John 10:10. It said the thief coming not but for to steal and kill and to destroy. And that's this devil's MO, and it's fueled by these oligarch families at the top. All right, Amalek, man. Okay, and their whole MO is just to steal, kill, and destroy. And they want to just heap everything to themselves, man. But all right, speaking of Yahweh Shai, I am come that they, and this is beginning with the elect, might have life, and he's finna give us immortality, man. We finna come into life, man. Okay, Esau, he operates in the kingdom of death, man. Okay, this man operates in the kingdom of death. That's Esau thrives in death, confusion. Okay, but it's to the point of his own self-destruction. That's why no flesh should be saved, man. Between war, between pollution. Okay, no flesh should be saved. My brother can post that, Matthew 21. Matthew 24. I think it's 21. Okay, so I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly, man. And this is why we just await Yahweh Shah, man. And this is why I say this world is done, man. You see, this age is done, man. Esau has literally ran the earth to the ground, man. To where there's need of a righteous reset. Like the brother going into, there's a nuclear element, to these data centers. Okay, and then if it's a nuclear element, is prone to be a nuclear fallout. Okay, it's prone to be a nuclear fallout, and then what that nigga gonna do? Shrug his shoulders. Okay, and all Esau gonna do is shrug his goddamn shoulders. He don't care. Okay, so let's play this real quick. Let's see.
to our Eye on AI series. All week, we've been diving into the benefits and risks of artificial intelligence. Now we want to take a closer look at the impact on the environment and public health, because multiple reports show the data centers that are used to National Energy Agency. A typical AI data center uses as much electricity as 100,000 households. And a report from the Environmental and Energy Study Institute found large data centers can consume up to 5 million gallons of water every day. Now, that water is used.
And they're drinkable water. Okay, so here it is. All right, the water is already, defiled. Okay, the water is already defiled. So this man is feeding these data center drinkable water, and this is also another reason why he wants to depopulate, man, because his, DPI, his digital public infrastructure, needs these resources. Okay, and it's drinkable water that cools down these data centers. Okay, so he needs to free up some resources. All right, and his plan for that is to depopulate. Okay, the goddamn devil, man. You see?
To keep the computer hardware cool, and some data center developers are tapping into freshwater resources. Now, as far as public health concerns go, the use of diesel generators to keep data centers online can emit harmful pollutants that can contribute to asthma and other respiratory issues. And with data centers often going up in rural areas, it's usually people in marginalized communities who are most affected. Now, let's look here locally. City council members voted down a proposed data center in Naperville after months of pushback from residents. You can see them out here. The main concerns were heavy water, health risks, and potential increases in utility cost. Then in nearby Aurora, data centers are quickly going up. This is video from developer CyrusOne, which just began construction on its second site a year ago. Currently, the city has 4 data centers. 5 more are in the works. And because of the interest in Aurora, the city set a 180-day pause on any new data center developments. That expires next month. We called the city's director of sustainability, who says the purpose of that pause was to set new requirements with the environment in mind.
So we have a lot of data centers here. We have a lot of data centers that are requesting to come here as well. So we were seeing a need to put a pause on it here because we didn't actually have a definition for data centers in our zoning. And so they were essentially being treated as warehouses, and warehouses and data centers do not have the same uses. They do not have the same impacts on neighborhoods. So we needed to actually do some research on some best practices because there isn't a standard out there for requirements for data centers. We're looking at requiring all new data centers to be considered conditional use. That means that city council will always have approval for a data center. We're also setting new noise requirements, new water consumption requirements, and new energy requirements.
Who gonna enforce that? Okay, her. Okay, Esau don't do requirements. Okay. It'll sound good. You can go to the town hall meeting and say, well, look, we're gonna require them to. Okay, Esau ain't gonna stick to the requirements, man. He don't even stick to his rules. Okay, and you think, all right, you peon citizens, okay, are gonna come over with requirements, all right, for the data center? Hell no, man. Okay, Esau is doing what he wants to do. It's gonna take Yahweh Shai to come stop this man. Okay, Esau only respond to force. All right, and you people, your votes, all right, you piling up in this meeting, that don't matter. Esau got 20 more data centers. You're complaining about this one. This nigga got 20 more to make it. Okay, he don't care. You see, and your politicians have no power. This is not a democracy, man. Your mayor, okay, is nothing. All right. Your superintendent, zone 3, okay, That nigga don't matter. He's not a factor. Okay.
We will also have continuous monitoring and reporting to the city about what those standards are and whether that compliance is being met. It's definitely possible to make these data centers be sustainable. We just have to ensure that they're actually doing it. And if we want them to be good neighbors, then we had to put these requirements in place.
Aurora actually held an open house just last night to share these guidelines and address any community concerns. And that is the end of our Eye on AI week. You can find all the stories with links to more information on our website.
Yeah, man. So let's go from there and let's go to the devil himself. All right. One of the mascots of AI. All right. This flunky. All right. Elon Musk. Okay. So let's let's go here and see what's happening too. If a brother can put that, he should be in straits. All right, let's get a couple of precepts brothers got. Okay, this is loyal to Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah, Matthew 24:22. It says, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened, man. So Yahweh Shah finna intervene on behalf of his elect, man. He's finna get us out this shit, man. Lord will, we of that number. Lord will, we of the elect, predestined, to be delivered out of this madness, man. The Lord finna get us out of here, man. Because this nigga got no chill. Okay, and Esau be guessing. That nigga don't be having shit figured out, man. He's a child. There's another one. We get this all the time. We're gonna keep getting it because this nigga's a child, man. All right. Ecclesiastes 10:16, Baba Shah. You brothers. Let's get this. All right, this the brother. All right, Michael Ball, Revelation 6:4 says, and there went out another red horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take place. All right, to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given him a great sword, man. Okay, and the devil has this sword, so he doesn't care about people's opinion because he got the sword. What y'all gonna do? They're gonna keep building data centers. Nigga, and y'all gonna pay for it. What y'all gonna do? Okay, that's the mind of Esau, man. He don't care about people dying and environment being suffering. He don't care. Okay, he just so stuck in his ambition of trying to be the most high, man, that he doesn't care about the consequences of his action. He's a child, man. Okay, he's a goddamn child that's in power. You see? That's why the scriptures say, brother, get it. Yep, brother got this one. Yep. This is Job 22. It's Job, it's like this is the book of Job, chapter 20, verse 22, from the brother Heartland Hebrew 144K. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Okay, every hand of the wicked shall come upon him, man. And the wicked goes into, the laborer, the servants. Okay, and that's why there's a big uprising amongst the working class. Okay, also amongst, Jake. You see, because even us prophets, we come from the working class. And see, the biggest resistance to this devil new world order is the prophets, man. Okay, as we speak this truth, man. All right, we're speaking this man's end into existence. Okay, and now this devil is in straits because he doesn't have the resources and energy he needs to really run this thing. He's figuring it out. He's trying to make this thing happen as he go. But what he's coming to find out is a hard task trying to be the most high. Okay, this is a hell of a task, him trying to play the most high, man. All right, it's just like that guy in the gym who just loading up the bench with all these plates. Okay, it look cute while he's doing it. All right, but then when it's time to actually get it off the rack, okay, and then he might get it off the rack, because right now Esau got it off the rack. Okay, but now he's trying to hype himself up to try to pull it off, man. You see? And what's going to happen, man, Yahweh Shai is going to come intervene in the midst of him trying to do that rep. You know, for you brothers that, you know, lift weights, familiar with that. The Lord's going to intervene, but he's saying it's heavy. He is hard getting this new world order off his chest, man. Okay, it's hard getting that bar off his chest. You see, on a squat, nigga, knees wobbling. Okay, because he's been given a hell of a task to try to be the Most High. Okay, so let's listen to this devil here and get some more of these precepts.
It's harder to scale on the ground than it is to scale in space. Any given solar panel is going to do about 5 times more power in space than on the ground. So it's actually much cheaper to do it in space.
So now they're talking about building data centers in space, because these devils already know they don't have the resources needed on Earth to pull this off, man. Okay, so now he's talking about building it in space, man. This nigga is scrambling. He's weary. He's frantic. Okay, and he's throwing this shit together. Okay, and this guy here, Elon Musk, he's just a flunky. Okay, a front man, a spokesman for the New World Order, man. You see? So now they're talking about you got to go to space and harness solar power. These devils would destroy the universe if they had access to it, man. That's why the Lord only lets this man go so far. There's even portions of the earth, this ocean that he hasn't discovered, man. There's a lot of earth he hasn't discovered, man, because he would destroy it. Whatever this nigga has access to, he destroys, man. Okay, everything that Esau has access to, he just destroys it, man. Okay, so now these niggas talking about harnessing, you know, solar power from the atmosphere, man. And this is how you know Yahweh Shai is close, man. You know, going back into the the Tower of Babel. You know, nothing shall be withheld from them. So they have to be confounded. You know, and that's going to be through Yahweh Shai.
My prediction is that it will be by far the cheapest place to put AI will be space in 36 months or less, maybe 30 months.
36 months?
Less than 36. In 36 months, but probably closer to 30 months, the most economically compelling place to put AI will be space. And then it will get like ridiculously better to be in space. You know, once you start thinking in terms of what percentage of the sun's power are you harnessing, you realize you have to go to space. You can't scale very, very much on Earth.
But by very much, to be clear, you're talking like terawatts.
Yeah. Well, all of the United States currently uses only half a terawatt of power on average.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, if you say a terawatt, that would be twice as much electricity as the United States currently consumes. So that's quite a lot. And can you imagine building that many data centers? I mean, that many power plants? Mm. It's like those who have like lived in software land don't realize that they're about to have a hard lesson in hardware that it's actually very difficult to build power plants. And then you don't just need you need power plants, you need all of the electrical equipment, you need the electrical transformers to run the transformers. Have you ever tried to do an interconnect agreement with a utility at scale, like with a lot of power?
As a professional podcaster, I can say that I'm not, in fact.
Yeah.
Can't you solve this with your own behind the meter power stuff?
You can build power plants.
Yeah.
That's what we did at XAI. But plus is to it.
Why isn't this a generalized solution?
It's very difficult to scale other forms of power. You can scale potentially solar. The solar cells are already very cheap. I think like solar cells in China are around like 25, 30 cents a watt or something like that. It's absurdly cheap. Now put it in space and it's 5 times cheaper. In fact, no, it's not 5 times cheaper. It's 10 times cheaper because you don't need any batteries. So the moment your cost of access to space becomes low, by far the cheapest and most scalable way to generate tokens is space. It's not even close. It'll be an order of magnitude easier to scale. 5 years from now, my prediction is we will launch and be operating every year more AI in space than the cumulative total on Earth.
If you tell the model it's going to be shut off.
So these devils, all right, they're having a hard time to scale these data centers and get the power that they need to run this technocracy, man. Okay, because he's limited, and this is the Most High showing that Esau was just a man because he's limited, man. Okay, And I'm gonna queue up one more video. I'm gonna get this. Okay. And then this nigga just doing shit. He's a child. Okay. He doesn't care about the ripple effect of his decisions, man. You know, he doesn't care about going to space. He doesn't mind interfering with the natural. Okay. Let me see. He doesn't mind interfering with nature because everything from the beginning was set up with a purpose. You know, everything was set up with a purpose, man. And what this devil does, he disrupts everything's natural purpose, man, on every level. You know, everything has a natural purpose, but this devil, all he does is disrupt the natural purpose of everything, man. Okay? That's why he wants to disrupt the sunlight. The sunlight has a purpose, man. The earth needs the sunlight. This man has agendas to try to black out the sun. Okay? Though, like I say, cutting down all these trees have a purpose. Carbon has a purpose. All this carbon emissions, man, that has a purpose. Okay? Everything that this man, you know, does is to disrupt what was already established in Genesis, man, with the wisdom of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, okay, through the Alahayim, man. Okay? So this man is then, and this how this man wages war with the Most High by going to war with the creation, because he can't physically wage a war with the Most High. Okay? He can wage a war with the Most High's people and the Most High's creation, man. You know, and that's why everything he does, it disrupts, okay, what is, man, the creation. You see? So let's read this real quick. All right, he's a child that's in power. Okay, this Sirach 10 and 16 said, woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child, and thy princes eat in the morning. Okay? So this devil he's a child that's in rulership. It says, thy princes eat in the morning, showing you what that they're undisciplined. Because in the morning you should prioritize what? The affairs of the kingdom. Okay, in the morning time, that will be the time of having counsel. Okay, there will be the time of, you know, dealing with the priorities of the realm. Okay, because what you do in the morning shows, all right, where your interest is at. Okay, when you wake up and what you get to doing in the morning, it shows where your interest is at, man. You see, and these devils, you know, they live, all right, to just, you know, for their appetite, man, for more power, for more wealth, you know, to live, you know, presumptuously and do as thou wilt. Okay, they're rulers that only have self-interest, man. Okay, they're rulers that only have self-interest. You see, well, Yahweh Shai, all right, he's coming to establish righteousness, man. Okay, and I believe that's in let's see, I want brothers to post. There's two I want to post at the end of this. I think that's in Luke. I know one is in Sirach. If a brother can get Sirach 6 and 24. Okay. Not Sirach, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, verse 24. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, verse 24. And let's get also, let's see. Let me look this up. We're going to play this. I might have to get it on here. But yeah, get that Sirach 6 and 24 Bible shot. I mean, not Sirach, Wisdom of Solomon 6 and 24. I'm going to play this. I'm going to find that other one. Bible shot. All right, but this is what people are dealing with, man. Okay. So let's play this one.
When I noticed my electric bill gone up, I started asking my neighbors, is your bill also going up? And they had no idea that this was happening.
If you live in any of these states, your electric bill is higher this summer. It's not because of anything you did. You're paying more because the world's biggest tech companies are building so many data centers.
I do guess that a lot of the world gets covered in data centers over time, but I don't know, because maybe we put them in space.
Is this something where we are committed to building out data centers across 60 regions? We're absolutely going to.
Big tech's quest for artificial intelligence is creating a tidal wave of new costs that are about to hit all of us, even if you live nowhere near a data center.
The big problem is that we're all subsidizing the wealthiest corporations in the world in their pursuit of artificial intelligence.
Americans' utility bills are rising while big tech's profits are going through the roof.
We traveled into data center country and found a hidden wealth transfer. Everyday people covering the power costs of the data center build out. Companies like Amazon and Meta striking secret deals with utilities.
It's all proprietary. It's all behind non-disclosure agreements and blacked out documents.
And lobbying for a system that leaves all of us footing their bill, unless we do something about it.
So I've always paid attention to my electric bill, mainly for environmental friendly reasons. I wanted to make sure I'm not using too much light, and what room am I using the most light.
Cassandra Linez lives in northern New Jersey. In July, she got an electric bill that caught her attention.
The thing I noticed right away was, compared to the same time last year, my bill has gone up, but also I noticed my usage went down. I started to pay attention to this box area where it describes your supply charges. And I noticed a $29 increase on my bill. To me, honestly, it felt almost like a slap in the face to use less energy and then get charged more for it. A lot of folks sometimes work 2 to 3 jobs to be able to pay their bills and don't take the time or have the time and luxury to even look down at their bill. I sat down with a neighbor and I asked her about her electric bill, if it's gone up. And she was like, well, where would I check that? And she brought it out and I checked and her bill looks the same as mine. It's also gone up in the supply section.
I wanted to understand why Cassandra and her neighbors are suddenly paying so much more for electricity every month. To figure that out, I ended up having to travel 300 miles south.
This is like the Wall Street of the data center industry.
Julie Bolthouse researches the dramatic growth of an area of Northern Virginia known as Data Center Alley.
So there's already over 200 data centers that are built or approved in Loudoun County. We have the largest data center market in the world by far. And so there's a race to ensure that these companies have enough space to grow out what they hope to be the future of AI.
The demand is just off the charts.
We're the biggest owner, the biggest developer of data centers, and our pipeline right now is up 25% year on year.
Between 2021 and 2024, the number of data centers nationwide nearly doubled. And that's because companies like Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, and Google have decided to invest billions on technology that requires an enormous amount of computing power.
What does it take to win?
For AI, that means you've got to have the most powerful training compute. Training compute is kind of like the engine. There's horsepower of the engine.
We are basically all in on this. We're building multiple multi-gigawatt data centers.
As the tech industry is currently conceiving of artificial intelligence, it just requires a massive amount of energy-intensive, power-hungry computer chips.
Ari Pesco wrote a recent report about how data centers are affecting energy markets.
We've seen announcements from Meta and from OpenAI that they intend to develop 5 gigawatt data center campuses.
I mean, just to, I guess, put this in perspective, I think a gigawatt, it's like around the size of like a meaningful nuclear power plant only going towards training a model.
These AI development companies want to get these gigawatt size facilities online. They want many of them around the country, and they want to do it within the next few years.
In 2025, the tech industry is expected to spend about $475 billion on data centers, up 40% since last year. Today, data centers make up about 4% of US electricity demand. In just the next 30 years, that's expected to triple.
The United States has never generated more electricity in our history than we are today. The problem is that data centers are bursting through the envelope of energy demand, and we're seeing record energy demand almost entirely being driven by data centers.
Tyson Slocum works on energy and utility issues at Public Citizen.
And so let's take an example in the world's largest power market, It's called PJM. It covers 13 US states from Illinois to Washington, D.C. About 65 million Americans live within its footprint.
Many factors determine what we pay for electricity, but to understand how data centers are making it more expensive, it's important to know that the price that utility companies pay for power is set in regional markets. The biggest of those is a market known as the PJM.
They had a big, what's known as a capacity auction last year. Last year's capacity auction broke all records.
And what happened last summer in the auction is the prices went up by 800%, a massive increase in costs.
David Lapp represents ratepayers in Maryland, another PJM state. He explained to me that when utilities have to pay a higher capacity price, they pass it on to consumers in the form of supply charges. According to the PJM's independent monitor, data centers were responsible for 63% of last year's price increase.
We saw customers with bills.
And this nigga's so wicked. All right, because here it is. When Trump made this the Stargate bill, okay, they gave AI infrastructure, which data centers are, you know, the number one thing in this AI infrastructure, but it gave them $500 billion. And see, people don't understand, when he made that bill, that means that $500 billion of tax money. So your taxes are paying for the data centers, and you're paying out of your pocket with your post-tax money, the money that you receive after taxes, okay, to pay for the power, the electricity bill. Okay, so they're just passing on the electric bill for these data centers to the people. Okay, so you're paying for the actual data center out of taxes. Okay, out of the tax money. And then you have to turn around after the post-tax money you get from your check to pay for, all right, the electrical bill for the data centers, man. This man is the devil. And see, people are not in the uproar about that. Nigga trying to get to the bottom of Epstein. So what? When you get to the bottom of that, then what? You'll never get to the bottom, man. They showed you what they wanted you to show you, so you keep you distracted and entertained. Okay? So while people are distracted and nothing, niggas still talking about Bad Bunny, and who is that nigga, man? What does that have to do with anything? Okay, see, you Americans, you don't understand how your country works. You don't understand how the government works. You don't understand how nothing works. You know, the elites have dumbed people down so much, man, till they don't understand nothing, and that's why they're not in the uproar about the things that they should be in the uproar about. All right, they tell you what to get mad about. Okay, what to complain about, what to debate about. You see, but the things that's happening in real time, that's having real time effects on your situation, the pollution, the environment, the noise, the you know, your tax money going to this the data center, and it's your prison. You're paying to build your own digital prison. Okay, this is what the elites are doing. You're paying to build your own digital prison that they want to merge you with this technology, which is going to enslave you digitally, man. Let's play this some more.
$900 over $1,000. It's unfathomable that they are having to pay higher rates to support wealthy data centers.
It's not just PJM. This happened across the country. We're seeing data center loads from coast to coast. It's affecting every energy market.
One way to start addressing this supply and demand problem would be to bring new power supply to the grid. But then the big question is, who's going to pay for that new infrastructure? The way the system currently works, we all pay for it.
So the utility business model is more than 100 years old, and it was designed to spread electricity service at the beginning of the 20th century. The basic idea is that utility builds something and you socialize the costs to all of the ratepayers that have no choice but to take that utility's service.
The cost of new infrastructure mostly shows up on another part of your electric bill, sometimes called delivery charges. Utility companies are allowed to set those charges high enough to recoup every dollar they spent building, plus a regulated rate of profit, usually around 10%.
So this is a huge profit opportunity. This growth in demand is a great excuse to build the sort of infrastructure that they're very comfortable building. If you look at sort of any of the earnings calls that these companies do, they're touting data center growth in their region.
To lure data centers to their service areas, utilities have started cutting direct deals with big tech.
One way that utilities might attract new data center customers is by offering them a good deal on electricity. This is a competition between utilities to attract these data centers.
Ari and his team looked at nearly 50 regulatory proceedings across the country about utility rates for data centers. What they found is that the deals between tech companies and utilities are typically hidden from the public, and there's good reason to believe we should be concerned about that.
The concern with these deals is that the data center may be underpaying, that it's not covering the cost that the utility is incurring. It's going to look to the rest of us, to ordinary ratepayers, to make up that difference. And so our rates will go up in order to finance a sweetheart deal for a data center. One recent example is happening right now in Louisiana with a data center being developed by Meta.
Last year, a utility company in Louisiana proposed to spend $3 billion on a new power plant to meet electricity demand from a Meta data center. The full terms of its deal with Meta are secret, but redacted regulatory filings have revealed that the public is on the hook for Meta's power plant.
Meta has signed a 15-year deal, and it only obligates them to pay for about half of that $3 to $4 billion of infrastructure, which means that there's a big risk that everyone else in Louisiana will get stuck with the rest of that bill.
I believe deeply in building personal superintelligence for everyone. And at Meta, we have the resources to build the massive infrastructure required and the ability to deliver new technology to billions of people.
Meta saw an opportunity to negotiate a massive data center deal without the public having any input. And to this day, there is still massive amounts of detail about that Meta AI complex that the people of Louisiana have no information about.
In Virginia, the utility company Dominion Energy has proposed to build 6 new power plants to meet data center demand, the first at a cost of $4.5 billion. According to one estimate, only 30% of that will be paid for by the customer class that includes data centers.
At Dominion Energy, we know power is personal.
Residential customers will pay about half the cost, despite the fact that residential demand for electricity has flatlined. Dominion projects that average residential electric bills will more than double to $315 a month in the next 15 years, primarily due to data centers.
We should not be having to pay the bill for the infrastructure that is supporting private companies that are making a ton of money off of this infrastructure. They're not building AI just because it's fun to build AI. They're building AI because it's making them money.
The right way to do it is make sure that the data centers pay for every penny of this infrastructure.
In Maryland this year, ratepayers and advocates came together to try to address this problem and passed a state bill that creates a new customer class for data centers.
So what this legislation does, and it's an important step forward, is it says these data centers don't fit within any of those customer classes.
Yeah, nigga. They're going to still do what they want. All right. So you see how wicked, Esau Edom is, man. Okay. This man has no let up, man. He has no mercy on the poor. Okay. He creates systems to create permanent poverty, and then he preys on the poor. Okay, because people are dependent on the electrical grid. All right, so people have to pay a light bill. Okay, so this devil, he just forwards the bill of these mega data centers onto the masses, man. Look, y'all niggas pick this tab up. This is just a nigga, man. He come cut down the trees. He comes build day and night. And then when he's finished building the data center, all right, he leaves a tab on your door. Okay, everything for the dust, and you got the mask on. Then this nigga leaves a tab at your door, man. Okay, it's just a wicked nigga that's in power, bro. So let's get a few precepts, okay? Because because I want to go here because I looked up something real quick while they was playing. This is Luke 22 and 24. It said, now dispute also arose among them to which of them was regarded to be the greatest. You know, so you had the disciples, you know, and they was disputing about who was going to be the greatest among them. Okay, and Yahweh Shai intervened. You know, remember, because this was amongst the Romans. And see, the Romans, these different Caesars, they was all about, and that's Esau, that's the nature of Esau. Edom, he really embodies, you know, just this never-ending competition amongst, you know, the ruling class. Okay, that's why you see America has the spirit of just this on, everybody's in competition with everybody. Okay, because that's the spirit of these devils up top. They're just in this, you know, this relentless competition one against another. Okay, but the responsibility of rulership is suffering. But these niggas are in this forever competition, man. So Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Shai is overhearing, you know, this dispute amongst the disciples, and he intervenes, and this is what he says. Luke 22 and 25, Yahweh Shai said unto them, the kings of the Gentiles have absolute power and lord it over them. Okay, and this is the position that the elites have put themselves in, to where they have absolute power and they lord it over y'all. All right, they lord it over the masses, man. Okay, to where, look, nigga, you gonna pay for the data centers, you gonna pay the bill. Okay, you gonna shut your ass up. Okay, we finna change the money, nigga. You have to merge with the technology. All right, so they just ruling with absolute power, and they lord it over the people. Okay, they constantly make these moves. Okay, and it's like, what y'all gonna do about it? Okay, it says, and those in authority over them are called benefactors, man. Okay, now I look at this word benefactor, and one of the synonyms. Okay, I look to the word benefactor. What is a benefactor? So you go into the benefactor, is that a person who gives money or other help to a person or cause. And see what these devils do, you know, these billionaires, they'll spend so much money on this and say it's for the benefit of the public, but really for their benefit, man. Okay. And Esau came up with a term because, you know, there was a lot of kickback against these, you know, against the Rockefellers and these different families that had became super wealthy. Okay, but they were destroying jobs, they were destroying the environment to build their infrastructure for their industries. Okay, so what these devils came up with a term called, all right, for philanthropists. Okay, now when you go into, okay, what is a philanthropist? All right, which is a synonym for benefactor. All right, it says a person who seeks to promote the welfare of others, especially by the generous donation of money to good causes. Okay, so you see the same thing in benefactor or humanitarian. Okay, so these devils do all this wickedness, man. Okay, they make billions. Let's say this devil make 10 billion, okay, dollars, okay, in wickedness. You see, by doing wickedness, man. So what this nigga do, he'll build $1 million library at a college and put his name on it, the Rockefeller Library. All right, and all of a sudden, this nigga's a benefactor. You know, he's for the good. He's a humanitarian. He built a library. Okay, he built the cafeteria. You know, this nigga made $20 billion in wickedness, but then he built you a $2 million cafeteria. He's like, you know, he love y'all niggas now. Okay, and it's nothing but a scheme for political, all right, and psychological, you know, persuading people that he's for people's good. He's a benefactor. You know, he has this wealth, but his wealth benefits the people, which is a goddamn lie, man. Okay, this man ruins millions of lives, but he built one library on the campus, and now he's a humanitarian, man. Okay. And that's what these devils do. You know, those Roman Caesars did that. They do all this wickedness, but then they build a theater. Okay. They destroy, you know, all right. They hoard all the resources to themselves, but then they build one theater. And now these niggas care so much, man. Okay. It's a damn scam. You see? So, yep. That's good. And there you go. It's the brother Yaquab, Hopeful Lake 3. Sirach 14:7 said if he do it good, he do it unwillingly. And at the last, he will declare his wickedness, man. At the last, he would declare his wickedness, man. And this is all this devil is doing, is declaring his wickedness, man. Okay, in the end game, this is what it was always about. Okay, all this convenience that he, you know, all these government subsidies and government assistance, it was just creating people to be, it was creating a dependence, so he would have the leverage in the end. So now he's just able to do what he want to do because people are so dependent. Okay, so he built all this infrastructure, which at the end of the day you still paid for. So the nigga never did you no favor. Okay, because he's still taxing. All right, you know, this nigga taxing the ink off your goddamn check. Okay, so he never was doing nobody any favor, but he put on like everything he was doing was to benefit the whole, man. It was always to benefit these few families, man, the oligarchs, man. Okay, so let's go back to the precept. All right, so Yahweh Shah said, look, this how y'all talking like the Gentiles, man. This how the Gentiles roll about the greatest and all that. We don't move, we're not gonna move like that. Okay, and this is what Yahweh Shah been showing us in his grace period. We're not gonna move like these niggas, man. The elites, we're not gonna move like them, man. Okay, ain't gonna be a competition between brothers about who got the most, and this brother running this industry, and he got, we got, that because these Edomites, man, they're wolves, man. Even amongst each other, man, they devour each other. Okay, like I say, when you look at that series on Netflix, The Men That Built America, I don't know if brothers have seen it already, but like I say, and they push a lot of BS as far as trying to romanticize these niggas. Okay, but then when you look at their tactics, all right, it shows you that how grimy, all right, Esau is, even amongst each other, man. This lets us know that the elites, they're not in agreement now. They never been in agreement, man. Okay, they just needed each other for certain things, but these Edomites, they're not even in agreement, man. Okay, these elitists. So this Luke 22:26 said, but it is not to be this way with you. On the contrary, the one who is the greatest among you must become like the youngest and least privileged, and the one who is the leader like the servant. Okay, so Yahweh Shai is like, look, man, we're not in rulership for the sake of just balling out of control. Okay, rulership is meant to serve the people that they're ruling. Okay, so there's another, the people that have the most power have to be the most humble, and they have to have the most discipline and restraint. Okay, so their rulership can benefit, all right, the masses, man, not just themselves, man. Like this nigga, it says, for who is greater, the one who reclines at the table or the one who serves? Is not the one who reclines at the table, but I am among you as the one who serves. Okay, because Yahweh Shai, he came to do a service. That's why him being a sacrifice, he did a service to his people, man. Okay, he had all this power to do these miracles, man, but he wasn't wealthy. Okay, he wasn't the most popular. You see, he didn't go make a name for himself. He didn't serve his own agenda. With all the power that he had, he didn't serve his own agenda, man. He served the masses, man. Okay, by being their sacrifice, man. You see, so he was the greatest example of the mindset we should have, all right, in these high positions that the Lord is finna grant his men. Okay? So that's why you go from there. Let's get this. I think the brother got it. Yeah, so let's end right here. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, verse 24. It's your brother Heartland Hebrew. It said, but the multitude of the wise is the welfare of the world, and a wise king is the upholding of the people. Okay? So the multitude of the wise is going to be the welfare, is going to be to the benefit. It's going to really benefit. All right. We're not going to act like we're benefiting the people. Our rulership is going to actually benefit, beginning with Israel, the elect of Israel. Okay. They're going to get to enjoy the fruits of a righteous rulership. Okay. The elect of Israel, they're going to be, highborn and noble. Okay. Forever, man. And then after 1,000 years, Esau is going to be done away with, and the heathen, they're going to get to enjoy righteous rulership. There's always going to be a great separation, between Israel and the heathen. Okay, what they're going to do, our rulership is going to benefit the earth, man. The plants, the animals, the waters, the oceans, the air, everything's going to benefit. All life is going to benefit from the righteous rulership, okay, of the elect of Israel, man. Okay, beginning with the first fruits. You see, matter of fact, I like to get this one too. Get one more I like, especially in NLT. Let me there's a scripture of hope. You see, and it's gonna come out a lot, man. Because this is our hope. Okay, so I get used to certain precepts coming out a lot, man. This is Isaiah 32:1. It says, look, a righteous king is coming, and honest princes will rule under him. Okay, so a righteous king is coming, Yahweh Shai, and honest princes, the first fruit, will rule under him, man. And that's going to be for the welfare of the earth, man. Okay, so yeah, that's the point. I'll leave it there. Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters, all right, will edify once again. We'll give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Makakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders, GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful, like Shalom.